and hello everyone, and welcome back to Cooking in Conversation. I'm your host, Home Chef Nick, and I have Pandra. And sir, would you like to give your name?
DeBerry. That means you can't pronounce it correctly.
No, we have interesting names.
Right.
People want to crucify my name sometimes,
right.
So I go by Nick.
Right.
So I don't know how I feel about my name. I don't want to crucify your name.
Gotcha.
Pandra.
I can pronounce Pandra.
Yes, but people crucify my name. I'm Portia, I'm Sandra, Tanya.
Oh, wow.
Portia?
Yes.
How did you get Portia out of
I don't know. Pandora.
They just weren't listening. They weren't trying
Poundra. I've heard it all.
Phonetics. Simple phonetics.
Right.
Okay.
I had thick skin as a kid. And I could fight.
Okay, so Barry and Pandra are joining me today for Cooking in Conversation. So please give us some interesting details about yourself.
I am 49 years old. I am a music aficionado. Most people don't know that. When they figure it out, it's a all factor because I guess I appear to be prissy or something like that. IT professional. I am actually from the area. Grew up in Capitol Heights, Maryland. So I am a Marylander. I'm not gonna say because some people who are from here don't like the phrase DMV. I've accepted it. That's what people call it, but it just used to be the Washington metropolitan area. But I am from the area.
I call it DMV.
That's fine.
It works.
What about you, DeBerry?
DeBerry Goodwin, originally from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Not quite the dirty, but it is the South. Military brat, moved around quite a bit, so I have found myself here in the DMV, and I hope it's probably my next to last move in my lifetime.
And I'm your host, Home Chef Nick. And let's see, I have been in the DMV since 2008. So I moved around quite a few times too. So I grew up in North Carolina, so I'm a country boy at heart.
Well, we can hear it.
Well, yeah, the twain comes out. And it will come out. So now I'm here in the DMV area. And I've been in Maryland since 2011.
Okay.
So today's topic, we're going to cover a myriad of topics for today. But the menu for today, specifically, we got ceviche with shrimp and cod. We have shrimp mac and cheese with a little oomph to it. And we have some carne asada. So let's get started. And before we get started, we're going to start with our conversation. So, dating in the DMV. Is it economical? How do we make it economical? And dating will break your wallet or pocketbook, probably. So, how do we make it not break your wallet? What are some things to do that actually will be a quality date? What do you think, Barry?
I'm still working on that part. I'm still working. Literally, I think I moved to the DMV for the first time back in 2012. And working in Alexandria, had a buddy of mine at work, and we literally would come in on the weekends and tabulate. Because we both came from the Hampton Roads area, which is, the cost of living there is a tenth of probably what it is here.
Yeah.
And so we would come in on Mondays and we would calculate how much, if we went on more than one date, how much the dates cost us. And literally compared to what we would have done in the Hampton Roads area, we probably would have spent in a weekend a whole month's grocery bill.
A whole month's grocery
bill on a weekend. I literally remember one time I took a young lady to the spot in Georgetown. I didn't know anything about Georgetown. It was Georgetown. It wasn't the Georgetown I grew up knowing, even having family in Georgetown. And I remember we went out and I got five meatballs, and she got a lasagna that literally came in a Stouffer's, something like Stouffer's lean cuisine type size, and the bill just for that and a couple drinks each was like $150. And
just for that.
And she was like, "What are we gonna do next?" And I was thinking to myself, "I'm taking my platter home because you don't hit me on $150. We hadn't even done anything yet." And I think I wasn't full, but it was like, hell, for that price, I went. At that time, I was living in Alexandria, Fairfax County, and there's a McDonald's right near the gate. I still had to stop at McDonald's and get something to eat to even be full. And it was just, so think about that. A lot of times in this area, we want to have traditional dating values, understanding that, if a gentleman is going out on, for a woman to date, you know, no offense, Parker, for a woman to date, she's accepting dates, and she may have to get her hair done, she may have to, you know, get her nails done, things of that nature. But those are things that the woman's going to keep herself up. She would have done anyway. So a gentleman dating, you have to be very selective as far as who you choose to spend your time with, or who you choose to take out on dates, because it can be counterproductive to building the assets in the bank account. So I'm still working on the whole, you know, even if you go out and we both get appetizers, we're still coming out $100 easy. So I'm still working on dating economically. So I'm open to any idea that Ponder might be able to share.
Well, you know, before Ponder starts, you know, you did touch upon one thing. You know, when a woman chooses to go out, she chooses, right? And that's crucial because she chose.
Yeah.
The second part is you mentioned that, you know, she get her hair done and stuff like that. For a woman to get her hair done, it's expensive.
Right.
And then whenever you go to the beauty salon for a woman, you ain't talking $100. That could be $300 just to get the hair done. And if I'm wrong, tell me about it. You know, so, and then there's the nails, and there's pedicure and stuff like that. So some women, well, I'm not gonna say some, a lot of women here in the DMV go through getting the hair done, the pedicure, the manicure, just for that date if it's somebody they really, really want to be with. So they've already spent $500 already before the date started.
I haven't met her.
So I've never done that.
I haven't met her.
But there are some women who do though.
Right.
And I've met those women, and that price on that date was pretty expensive. But go ahead.
So, some things to do. That was what you wanted, right?
Yeah, something economical.
Oh, for those at home in Foodland, I have some cod I have cut up. I have some minced garlic in here. I'm now squeezing fresh lime in here. And this is part of the ceviche. You don't cook it all the way, you cook it 3/4 way. And then afterwards, cook 3/4 way, then we put it in a bowl and mix it with everything else. So this is some goodness. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay.
Didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine. All right, so things that you could do before social media. You didn't really get. You couldn't just say, you know, let me Google this and find, and then everybody has their ideas. Right? So you had to be creative. So things like the park, museums, skating. At least when I was younger, those things were the kind of things that I like to do. Easy breezy things, but I can say I've never said I'm going to get my hair and my nails done for this date. I've never done that. I always kept my hair and my nails done anyway.
Right.
So having a date was the bonus, right? But I understand what you're saying. Some women, that's the thing.
No, now
for
next
this
thing,
date.
but my thing is, I'm thinking it's something you would have done. That's something
You're doing that anyway.
For their normal maintenance, right?
But
Some
women, we're not all the same. Some people
Right.
don't get their hair and nails done on a regular basis. So okay, I get that. But where I'm perplexed, I didn't know this was a thing with how much people spend on dates until Facebook.
Right.
And people started talking about it. It's like, oh, that's really a thing about how you plan. Like, oh, I got, and maybe I just come from a different, I don't know, area, but planning where are we going, how much you're spending. Because I feel like this, if I go on a date, if I'm going to go where I want to go, I don't mind spending my money.
Right.
So that's not always the guy that has to spend his money. I don't think that's fair. But I know some women, that's the expectation. But that's just not my reality. Because if he says, hey, I want to go, for an example, Olive Garden, I said, no, how about we go here? And if he's, you know, apprehensive, maybe I might think, okay, no, we don't have the money. Like, well, we can, you know, split it or go have it.
Right. I mean, young, you don't do that to them.
I would. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, so a few years back, I went on a date with a guy. I guess he got offended because I took the bill.
Right.
So there was it was a one and done. He got offended. I was like, well, he's not the person for me because you're easily offended like that.
You got offended because you had the bill?
Yes.
Wow.
I asked the server for the bill.
Right.
I had my card out already, and
Right.
I put it in, and I was like, why'd you do that? Like he was offended. So yeah, one and done.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like I said, you would say that that's not something that you would have an issue with. However, now with the invention of Facebook and social media, I was on SoundCloud? Not SoundCloud. What's the one? The app through iPhone where you do it's like audio only, and you go to the different groups. I forget the name escapes me at the time. But anyway, it's audio only, and people have these little discussion rooms, what have you. And there's one late night discussion. They were talking about dates, and ladies like, you spend less than. It's escaped me at the moment.
I want to know it though.
But
it's an Apple proprietary app, and it's only for Apple users.
right.
And we put that in the parking lot.
Yeah, it's not SoundCloud, but it's something similar. But it's all audio. And the lady was on there talking, if you're going to be, she's talking about the typical type of date that she would expect. Oh, we're going to this Chris, and yada yada yada. And I'm like, that's not a first date. I'm getting to know you.
Right.
Occasion. That is we're in a relationship. I don't mind springing for this for you. That's not a first date. Here we go. Right. It's definitely not a meet and greet spot. But there are individuals who put on that, and I think it's kind of like the social media aspect of it. Like people want to, like Instagram life. Like at the end of the day, most people with money aren't spending that kind of money every day, or they don't go out very often. It's just not what they do. But the expectation is, I think a lot of people want that old school. Go ahead, Nick, get an introduction to the food.
So we have our cod and we have our shrimp. The shrimp is already cooked 3/4. Okay. So the next thing to do is going to put it in the bowl. So we start putting together the contents of the ceviche. So here we go. I've already had some stuff pre-prepared already. So here's our bowl we're going to use for the ceviche. Cucumbers. All right. So red onion diced up. Well, you can use just regular onions. I prefer the red onions because to me they're healthy.
Right.
They're not healthy. And last but not least, diced tomatoes.
Okay.
All right. We have that. So, next we're gonna do this. We're gonna put in the
cod and shrimp.
Yep. Now, you see some seasoning inside the skillet, right? I added in a little bit of seasoning. It's actually from Trader Joe's, actually. South African smoke.
Okay.
Give it a little bit of heat.
Okay.
I don't like my stuff bland. I know you don't either. So, that's what we do. This is cilantro.
Okay, the dice stuff was. Didn't look like collard greens.
Oh, see.
From the South, could have been collard greens.
Man, come on. Really?
I'm not very cultured.
Man, you are cultured. Don't even try that. So we're going to squeeze a lemon in it. We need lime juice. And I had already put some salt and pepper in it already. So, but the trick behind this is plenty of lime juice in this fresh limes. So today we're going to cheat a little bit because I squeezed the lime already in the skillet when it was cooking.
And ceviche is
A South American seafood dish originated in Peru. Okay. We just learned something today.
They said we was going to a tapas bar, and I misheard. I thought they said topless.
Oh goodness.
There's a bunch of women. I was like, that's odd. There's a bunch of women want to go to the tapas bar. So we get there. I'm like,
Tapas.
like,
Topless.
Sorry, it's tapas, not topless. It makes sense. They were all married women. So I was like, since they're married women, we're not going to go to the tapas bar.
There's your ceviche.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Now I'm going to put one more thing in here. What I'm doing is I'm going to put in some avocado.
Yeah, I just buy little small things of guacamole.
Right.
Pre-separated, whatever.
Because that's the worst thing, to have a whole bag full of grenades and they're all bad. True story. Avocado. My coworker had one in her lunch bag at work. I work at the Pentagon. So you come through security. This particular day they were scanning. And they scanned it and said it looked like a grenade.
Oh wow!
So they said they had to confiscate it.
And avocado.
She's like, did not take to my lunch.
An avocado, really?
Yes.
And the avocado.
It looks like a grenade, but it's not.
They want to make some guacamole.
They wanted some avocado.
You just wanted her avocado.
hilarious. Now, what are avocado prices like now? Have they gone up?
It's going up.
Yes.
It's not like it used to.
It used to be like $1 a
Well,
piece.
everything's gone
Yeah. Well, the food supply
Food supply.
and the supply chain is just jacked up right now.
Anything that required manual labor is going up.
Oh hell! The problem is the ships are in port, and you have ships that are not in port. They're just waiting to come to port, and they don't have any workers to get the stuff from the ships offloaded. That is a big to do. So as a result, it's a trickle down effect. Trickle down effect is prices in the store have gone up across the board because now they can't keep stuff on the shelves because what they want is actually on a ship. It can't be unloaded yet.
And the people that normally would have helped unload it weren't allowed in the country.
Oh, on top of that, they were not considered when it came to getting the COVID vaccination. They were deemed last priority.
And they handling your food.
Yeah, they're
They handling our food.
not just handling food, just it's everyday things. Like you said, you had problems with the house that you're building, right?
Yes.
Well, the parts and stuff,
Sitting
materials for
somewhere.
your house, it was sitting on a boat somewhere.
Right.
All that because they couldn't get parts and stuff on the boat. And last but not least, we're gonna put a little bit of seasoning in this.
Okay.
I like all-in-one seasoning from Badier, complete seasoning.
Okay.
So,
Check that out.
This is my little take on ceviche.
Where'd you buy this?
It's an international aisle.
Oh, okay. I like the international market. You get a lot of interesting things.
Oh yes. Oh man, you know what? I was in the international market.
I guess it was easy just unscrewing it. Huh?
Yes, I'm just poking with that sharpness.
You know what? You just got jokes, man.
I was like,
Oh, yeah, I have to write this, put this on my phone so I can look it up.
Yeah, jokes.
Seasoning.
I'll just ask it, sir.
Okay, so all right, so this dish right here, right? It is proven, but here the dynamics of this dish is the food, the protein is cooked 3/4 through, and the citrus actually cooks it the last quarter.
That's why you don't cook it all the way through, because the lime juices continue to cook it.
Right now, what you can do is if you don't have the ability to cook it all the way, let it sit in some fresh lime juice. And you squeeze about an hour. It's cooked
Interesting.
about an hour. It'll be raw when you put it in, but after an hour, it's cooked. Not this lime juice. The
No,
lime
real.
juice,
Real lime.
real lime juice. It will be cooked in about an hour. And I will get you some forks or spoons. I want you to taste this. All right, get your spoon.
Nothing all tender than what.
I was thinking so good. These are cute.
Thank you, kind sir. Don't need that. My earpiece, I don't need it. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
You like that?
Oh, yeah. I can see myself on a good day.
Easy dish.
Put this inside of a tortilla.
Oh, yeah.
Eat it just like this.
Yes.
So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work on the shrimp mac and cheese.
I've never had shrimp cheese.
Really?
I've had lobster.
Now I do make a lobster mac and cheese too.
I know. I heard you talking about it. Someone was asking what was the menu for a specific day or something.
Good and healthy. I'm healthy. I don't feel bad eating it. Don't feel bad. Oh, this is gonna hurt me.
It's nice, light, and healthy. And that's probably, apart from what seasoning I put in it, literally almost no calories. Apart from the seasonings
I
I put
love
in
it.
it. Now we move on to
I'm gonna try to be decent.
the shrimp mac and cheese.
After what you can do for a date.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Help us.
I mean, we have, being in this metropolitan area, there's so many things. You have here, you have Baltimore, Annapolis, there's so many things to do. You just go to Old Town and walk around.
That sounds
Conversation.
good. That sounds good in theory. I'm listening.
Okay, so I'm with the bear on this one. That sounds good in theory. I don't know too many women that actually want to do that. Seriously, I'm being.
the wrong women.
I heard that one before too. I remember when I first moved here. It was a Floyd Mayweather fight. I can't remember who was fighting. This was like 2013 or so. And was at a fight, and the young lady, she was like, oh, she was from North Carolina. Oh, you brothers from the South, y'all get up here and y'all forget y'all home training, yada, yada, yada. That's her and a group of her friends. They're from North Carolina. Fayetteville, I want to believe.
Okay.
And then come to find out, they were intentively looking for gentlemen from the South so that they could exploit that fact that we generally have a tendency to be very giving and generous, and because that's the way we're raised, and we are raised with the, hey, you know, don't reach for that bill, you know, if I ask you out, I'm going to take care of it, whatever the case might be. And I have met quite a few women who are not materialistic, who are not concerned about that. That's not the priority. But but the ones that are vocal in these groups are the ones that are saying, oh, you know, if he can't afford to take me here, there, he can't afford to date, yada, 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 without understanding that in many instances, if I were a woman, I could date for 10% of the cost of what I date now, because I would have to pick up maybe every fifth bill or every third date, so, whereas if I was a woman, I could go out 3 days. It's like, oh, I'll get the tip. And I'd be like, most guys would be, oh, thank you. Or they'll just say, thank you, no, right? That's not the scenario for the male in that situation. But there are individuals that will, and I also grew up in a house full of women where I would hear like, girl, I didn't want to go with him. But I'll go for a free meal.
Okay. All right.
So I'll go for a free meal.
Okay. I'm paying attention.
Me, I just be like, Nick.
Right,
I need you to fix some of that. Right.
This is the shrimp.
Okay.
Now, is it cooked at all?
No.
No, it's just marinated heavily.
Fair season.
Okay.
Now,
Sounds good.
what kind of season do you think I got on this?
So maybe some
It's like
good
that bad.
Saison.
No.
No?
Jerk.
Oh, jerk.
It's jerk.
Okay.
Oh.
I was gonna say because it's dark.
Jerk mac and cheese. I thought it was favorite that.
Wow.
It's-
Okay.
That's a jerk
This
mac
is
and
gonna
cheese.
be good.
Now, I season it in jerk, but it doesn't take away from the overall goodness of just the mac and cheese itself.
Okay.
Okay, I'll explain in a second. It's this one. Alright, so the reason why I say it doesn't take away is, you see, I didn't put any seasoning other than this, the all-in-one seasoning, into the noodles, right? Because all the seasoning is going to come from the shrimp.
Can they see this?
Yeah. Well.
They won't see what it looks like. That's
Yeah.
the camera.
So here we go. For those in Foodie Land, the shrimp was just put in. The shrimp is seasoned with some jerk seasoning. Now I cut up the shrimp into little pieces so it goes further, and I mix it in with the noodles. The noodles only had in the complete seasoning right here. Okay, and it does smell
This
delicious.
looks like a kid with freckles.
Ooh, the good canned milk.
Yes, back in the day, you say that
Condensed.
when you ran out of milk, what you do?
Use this.
I've never ever done that.
You've never been poor. You've never been
People
poor.
say they use evaporated milk.
Oh,
but I've
absolutely.
never
That
done
had to add some water to it. That's what you mean. Needed milk for cereal. We didn't have anything else.
All right. So as you see here, the one thing I didn't do is a root. I didn't do a root. Okay. Because that comes actually in the back end. Yeah, the way I make my mac and cheese, I don't do a roux. But I set it up to the point where it goes into the oven, and halfway through, I take it out and I add in some more milk and more cheese. So it never sticks to the side or the bottom.
So what goes into the decision what type of cheese you use? I have different people say they use different types of cheese.
It's all about
Right.
What you want to do?
Preference.
It's your preference. Me personally, I don't care. I cater to my audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's whatever my audience wants is what I'll do.
Well, do you cook?
I cook. I cook to survive.
Right, okay.
There are a few things I do well, but yeah, I cook to survive. And another reason I ask because I exclusive because I don't want to put a lot of because I don't want to put a lot of salt and stuff into
Mm-hmm.
my mac and cheese. I'll use like the extra sharp,
Mm-hmm.
just because it gives me that kick without less cheese. And mac and
A
cheese.
can of condensed milk?
Well, 3 cans actually go in.
Okay.
Mac and cheese is probably like if someone says, "Oh, bring what you bring." I don't bring mac and cheese. That's an expensive dish. You don't need to bring that down. Just bring mac and cheese.
Yeah, it's an expensive dish. We're getting all the ingredients
I'd rather
together.
bring a bottle. I'd rather bring a bottle.
Alright, so we have. Now we're gonna put in some more cheese. My whole concept is I want it to be just ooey and gooey, where you just want to sit down and just like, I don't want nothing else, I just want this.
Okay.
Those them cheese.
Alright, so we got enough cheese in here, I believe. What do you think?
I'd say it's on to them.
You good?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Alright, need some more milk. Here we go. And we're gonna set the timer for this.
I love how he measures so precisely.
And it's the timer in a second. Let me put this in the oven.
Yeah, I won't be replicating this without calling.
So this is only set on 425.
Okay.
Anticipated my question. My question. What 10?
425, and we're gonna do about 20 minutes. But I'm gonna set the timer for 10 minutes. Because I need for that to melt. And I need for, the way I do the roux is on the back end. When everything melts and it starts blending together with the milk that's already in it, and the seasoning in it as well, take it out, stir it all the way up, and remove everything that has started to stick to the sides.
Mhm.
Remove all of that, and make sure it's stirred up, and put it in another can. And then put in some more cheese as well.
Okay.
So that way, you get another layer of cheese to go on top of it, and it's just your mouth is like, oh, I'm in heaven.
Okay.
That's a good place to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's less dangerous way to go. It's the least dangerous way to go to heaven. Yeah. So you probably had like the worst female guest in Ponder in terms to answer that question.
Why?
Because you give the answer. You've given the answer that many of the so-called good girls in this era would give, right? But there's I don't know if you've watched the latest episode of Ready to Love,
No.
but those women are
Not the opposite.
they are symbolic of the typical DMV dating
Okay.
in terms of
Materialistic.
well, not even materialistic.
Shallow?
I just think, like I say, materialistic and shallow, just in terms of expectations
people say.
being, my thing is from a male point of view is how can I? We're supposed to build. How can I build if the expectation that I'm constantly giving at a certain level that is not realistic? Like my parents,
Right.
my
It's not
parents,
maintained.
my parents do
Sustainable.
my parents do fairly well, but my parents aren't always going out to $300 nights out, right?
Right.
They're spending their money on on stocks and additions to the house and buying property. That's what they're spending their money on, not necessarily wooing or whatever the case might be. And I think sometimes people, when you're dating, like okay, dating is going to be like the relationship. Say, well, we don't want things to change once we get married or once we get serious. Then dating should be more like, in my opinion, should be more like what the relationship would be like. I'll tell anyone, I am boring. I'm fun to be around, but I'm boring at the same time. I don't go a lot of places. I don't do a lot of things. So if the expectations are going to go so far outside my comfort zone, then we're both going to be disappointed. Because I'll be sitting looking at you like, okay, that was good, but
Really?
You rather be at home.
I mean, I hung out with you a couple of times.
yeah, but that's again that I am I think Jen Lee put it on one of her posts sometimes that I'm an extroverted. Extroverted
Introvert.
Right. So if I'm forced to be in social settings, I'm going to make the best of it.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, if I could sit at home and look at my four walls and
Yeah.
find a painting project or find something to do around the house or figure out what's the next people's decorating project. That's my comfort zone.
Whereas me, I'm an extrovert,
Right.
extreme extrovert.
Right.
I like being out. I like being social and
Extreme?
meeting and talking. Yes.
Okay. I'm cool with it.
If you just pay attention,
Right.
when I'm talking about, I don't know. They say I have a magnetic personality.
I can see that.
Magnetic or magnanimous?
Both. But magnetic meaning that people just kind of gravitate to me and want to talk to me. So you'll see me here. Like, why is she always? Because that's just who I am, and I've accepted it. But sometimes it gets tiring, but only for a minute, and then right back out.
Whereas I'm very much,
right.
well, I'm very much like I pick my spots. Like kind of like I guess like Mayweather as a boxer. Like I'm sit back and observe, right, and then when I get my opportunity, I'll jump in and entertain the conversation. Or if I'm put in a position where I have to entertain, I'll do it. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I'd rather sit in the corner, observe.
I could tell that about you. And then we'll look up and say, "Where's the berry?" Oh, he left. Like, oh, okay. All right, what do we have here?
Okay, so next moving to the carne asada. So for the carne asada, I'm adding in mushrooms to it. It's not typically added in, but I'm adding in mushrooms.
And what kind of mushrooms are those?
Actually, it's a mixture of
I would say it looks different.
portobello mushrooms, oyster mushrooms, and like a couple of different kinds of mushrooms.
Oh, did you put this together or you purchased it?
I purchased it that way, actually.
The international.
Actually, Wegmans.
Oh, okay, Wegmans. Well, yeah, Wegmans is sort of like the international market because you get different things than you get at Safeway and Giant.
Oh yeah.
They're very interesting. You could go in Wegmans and go up and down a couple of aisles and be in there for like an hour or so.
So I'm putting in the crushed red pepper, garlic,
Okay.
oregano.
Love it. Love red pepper.
I'm more of a garlic.
I like
fan.
the red chili flakes too.
I really do. I'm more of a garlic fan. Like I like things with a lot of garlic in them.
Okay. So
Keep the
Red
bad
pepper.
spirits away.
I'm also going to do the.
I could eat that whole bowl like raw like that.
Really?
Just yes.
Seriously?
Yes.
Red onions. Raw.
Yeah, with the peppers, I do that. I don't know.
So, ladies and gentlemen in Foodie Land, I have cut up some different bell peppers. Some orange ones, some green ones, some yellow ones, and some red onions as well. So we're going to add this to the mix. This is going to become our fajita.
Yeah.
Now, are you a steak lover?
I am,
I am.
but I need to stay away from it because
Well-
beef just doesn't, on a regular basis, just doesn't. It agrees with me, but it agrees with my waistline as well. So.
Okay. You're fine.
Man, you know pretty good on your
How do
waistline.
you eat your
Yeah,
steak?
that's why I stay at medium.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer. So I eat mine medium rare to medium.
Yeah, it's medium.
Well,
And sometimes I'll say medium rare
Someone
because they mess
introduced
it.
me,
But
but
they
yes,
mess it up.
and they
So-
cook it too.
They
So I
cook it
say
too
medium rare, and it comes medium.
Yeah.
Well, the carne asada steak I made today, I put it on the grill.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I let it cook, stay on the grill for probably a good length of time because I needed for it to cook all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Only because I had the steaks marinated in the sauce for a whole week. So it marinated for almost 72 hours, and then I put it in the freezer where it froze in that seasoning. So it now is, so I'm gonna put it on the grill. It had all that flavors in it. So, and I even saved some.
Save some seasoning.
No, say the
So
Okay.
I put it in a gallon-sized bag. So for those home in Foodie Land, if you do carne asada, it's literally 24 hours if you want to do it right. So you can take the beef ahead of time and cut it up. But inside this bag is jalapenos. You have your minced garlic. You have some orange seasoning as well, like kind of like an orange juice, but it's not orange juice.
okay.
Now, you have a lot of, if you look at the recipes, it says add orange juice. However, you don't, that's a misconception. You don't add orange juice, you add this.
Oh,
So
by that same company. that makes
Yeah.
the,
Yeah. So this is what it is, ladies and
I'll
gentlemen.
be getting some.
This
of
is the
that.
actual seasoning that you actually need It's not an orange juice. It's this seasoning right here. All right. This is what you need for the carne asada. So you put in your fresh lime and you squeeze inside this as well as this. This is what going to give it the extra added kick to bring all the flavors together.
Okay.
Oh,
what else can you use that orange for?
Peruvian dishes, dishes for like the Mexican and some Caribbean dishes.
But you want to say
and Haitian dishes as
Oh,
well.
you said as a drink.
Go in a drink, you know.
Maybe.
I've never tried it before, but
I'm sure if you Google, you find.
Yeah.
you know we're getting low on wine. Here we go.
When you take a commercial break, I'll go get another
I've
one.
been slow walking.
That's all right. We have plenty of bottles left.
She said she got another engagement. You know, the extrovert in her has another engagement this evening.
We'll all be in
I'll
there.
be here.
We'll be there. So this is how it looks right here
Oh,
when you cut it up. So,
yeah. So you're gonna cook
So-
that later?
oh yeah, I'll cook this later. But as you see, look, there are the peppers right there I cut up too. So you see the crushed up peppers together.
Right.
Show them.
So in foodie land, here's your beef that's already cut up. Okay, you have your jalapenos there. You got some minced garlic. You have your crushed red pepper as well, and you can see you got cilantro in here too, and you have the juice that I just showed you. Okay.
I'll be trying that.
Never would have thought. I would have been going out buying oranges. Why does this taste that way?
Well, no, other things like when I make my limbs, so I put orange juice in here, so I'm gonna try that.
Really?
Gives it a little bit there.
All right. So
Oh yes.
this is our fajita. Now, these are all the seasons I put in it. You can also put in some taco seasoning if you want to as well. Remember, this pairs with the soft shell
Right.
tortillas and the steak. Now, I also have a mango salsa right here. You can also add in with the carne asada.
That sounds good. That's what the mango.
Mm-hmm.
So a little history. How did you become interested in cooking?
I had to cook.
Okay. Necessity.
Well, it was cooking out of necessity, yes. I asked my mom for a cookbook. Mama gave me a cookbook that was old school with no pictures. I was forced to be in the kitchen 2 and 3 hours at a time.
To figure this
I was like, is this what it looks like when you get done? I don't know. You know, so I started spending 2 and 3 hours in the kitchen. Literally. Just cooking different things.
Wow. That's one way to do it. That's like learning to swim by throwing you in the water.
What is your ethnic makeup?
I am West Indian and Native American.
Okay.
It's West Indian and Native and Indian.
Right.
Native American.
Indian.
Indigenous Indian.
Indigenous.
So mom is Native. Dad is West Indian from Trinidad.
That's interesting.
So best of both worlds.
Right.
In North Carolina.
My dad. Well, before we go into that part, mentioned earlier I said I'm not going to keep food
Yes.
sticking to the sides. See,
The shit.
and it's really not sticking to the sides. And I caught it just before. Now, the trick is now, let's mix this all up. Because in essence, we're creating the roux at this point. This is on the back end. And your shrimp is cooking at the same time.
That's right. You put it in raw.
Right. Now, I don't think we have enough cheese. Now I put a lot of cheese in it earlier. I'll put some more cheese. I just want to have cheese. You got any objections?
No objections.
Objections. Cheese overload.
All right. There we go.
He ruined it. He put in too much cheese. Said no man ever.
Said no man ever.
So we're gonna finish this whole bag.
That's what, 3 pounds of cheese?
I was just about to ask her.
It's a healthy amount.
Like more than that.
What is it here?
In the bottom, even.
Oh, it's 2.5 pounds.
Okay.
You were close. More cheese, please. Alright, so mixing it all together, right? The next thing we're gonna do is add some more goodness.
Now, do you ever use heavy whipping cream?
For this? Not for
Or
this.
with your mac and cheese? Just not for this dish?
Not for this dish,
Okay.
no. I cook a myriad of different versions of mac and cheese. There's regular mac and cheese. There is shrimp mac and cheese. There is crab mac and cheese. There is lobster mac and cheese, and then there's a seafood mac and cheese.
A medley.
Yep.
So that'd be too much good.
No.
For my simple palate.
Oh,
For my simple
you would
Really?
probably love it.
I'm just like,
Because you don't want to cook it.
yeah, I think I just freaked out the first time I saw mac and cheese with ham chunks in it. I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, I don't eat pork, so I've seen that and like, oh,
But
man.
my mother, she doesn't like for her food to touch, like literally,
Okay.
like things
Yes.
will be on the plate but separate. Whereas I'm like, if I want to eat the ham and the mac and cheese with the same flavor, let me cut a piece of ham and dip it in there and keep it moving, man.
Alright, let's do it for 15 minutes.
All
So-
right,
so-
15 minutes.
Blame my operating. So it's kind of funny when you were talking about the when you were mixing the mac and cheese. I thought about that Dave Chappelle special and how he was talking about all the letters in the car.
Yeah.
So it's like, and one thing I like him or love him, one thing you have to admit about Dave Chappelle is he is extremely intelligent. All his, it's like sometimes you go to a comedy show, that does smell good. You go to a comedy show and you're like, okay, where's this guy going? Like he just uses a bunch of F-bombs or a lot of cuss words to get some reaction, but he actually tells the story throughout his entire experience. Like, and so when people are talking about the most recent special, they're talking about how bad it was, or at least that was a controversy about it. I was like,
I don't think it's a controversy.
Sticks and Stones was much worse in terms of his
That sounds good.
it does, doesn't it? In terms of his jokes about transgender. However,
He was correct.
when you look at the way in which people view transgender or the LGBTQIA plus community, their issues are taken much more seriously than they take civil rights issues as it deals with African Americans and people of color, right?
Mhm.
So I think in essence that's what he was trying to point out. Like,
Right.
we have something that wasn't accepted for centuries, right? People had to hide it, even though we knew it was there. They hid it. And people get married, they have these families, whatever. And it was only because, go ahead, Chef.
These are the steaks that are on the grill.
Oh my
They're
God.
marinated for the entire week.
Mm.
So, ladies and gentlemen at home, these steaks were actually on the grill for about 20 minutes or so. I did not let it hit the grill directly.
Okay.
I'll put a piece of aluminum foil on the grill, and the aluminum foil I used was this one,
The heavy.
the non-stick.
Mm.
So those I'm gonna use non-stick.
Okay.
The reason why is because I needed this to cook kind of indirectly, but directly at the same time. So I will use one sheet of that, and I put this over top of it. So the sheet absorbed most of it, and it allowed this to cook without sticking to the actual grill itself. That's a little trick that
In the pan?
no, not in the
Oh, you
pan.
put the meat on the foil.
Right. So let's look, there's a
Okay.
There's a pepper.
That's what's up.
There's another. That
Get
sounds good.
that one to Joan wrist.
Smells good.
all right. So let's go through and cut this and
That is a good knife also.
Mm-hmm.
I need to invest in some good knives.
They cook more. You need not cook that.
oh, there you go. Look, that's what you wanted, right? Some pink.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good.
There you go.
Because it's
That's
pinker.
correct.
It's pinker in the middle. You're exactly.
Right.
The light might be pink.
So, growing up, we ate the steak well done.
Yeah.
And then
Actually, no, hold on.
Where along the way?
My mom ate it well done. My dad wanted his medium well to medium rare.
I remember saying like one time, it's hard to chew.
Right.
You know, mom could steak like, I
Take
don't
a
like
steak.
it like that. It's
Just
so
take
hard
a
to
steak.
chew.
Take a steak every day.
And then I don't know, I don't remember who introduced me to eating it medium, but once I did, I could never eat it again like that. So I introduced my son to eating it medium because he was resistant, and now he's like, you can actually taste the meat.
It's about like eating eggs over meat, over
You
meat.
can never go back to eating it. So if I order a steak and it doesn't come medium, it has to go back. I'm not gonna eat
So
it.
how old is your son?
27.
Oh, okay.
That's why I said
I know,
I'm
right?
49 in the intro.
You don't look like you have a son that old.
Right.
No, no.
She don't look like she got kids, period.
Exactly. I was gonna say that.
Thank you. Eugene.
But it's the truth.
Especially moms raising boys, they only got a few stress marks on their face, on their
But you
forehead.
know, like you at work and people talking about their kids and they're going back to school. They're like, is your son going back to school?
But
So, my son is grown. Like, what?
his kids might be.
Oh, I have no kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all things are as one of my friends from New York would say, all things are as they should be. I think there's a lot of times we talk about people who have kids that are younger versus having them older. I have friends who have their children older.
I just want to like grab the little end part.
I know.
For those at home in Foodie Land, here we go. Here's the here's the steak for the carne asada. So, no, here you go.
Yeah. I'm kind of
Hey, you get something. You get a piece of steak. You get a piece of steak.
All right, let me use some forks.
Okay.
I'm gonna eat my hand. That's what we do.
Man,
That's
that's so
country
good, right?
Ain't no culture like this. Like I grew up in.
Forks?
So speaking of culture.
I grew up licking the bowl, a little spatula. Mom made cake.
The seasoning.
What do you think?
I'm about ready to have a food gasm over
So we have the ceviche done. We have the steak is already done. Now we're waiting on the last piece is the mac and cheese. Well, the shrimp mac and cheese. And if you want, we can taste a little bit of the mango.
I saw you put a little seasoning in it.
I did.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I wait for you to serve it to me. I'm sorry, chef.
That's
These little
okay.
plates
I
are cute.
know a decent person will wait for you to serve it, but
Tapas
I'm not gonna do
plates.
that. I'm not decent.
It's okay. It is okay.
The flavor combo is great.
Pick one. It's right here.
Thank you.
So I put some lime juice in it. You got cilantro in it already.
Mango sauce. Couple of that. Oh yeah.
So when you put all those into the soft tortillas, boom, there you go.
Got a whole another string.
So this is your carne asada.
Y'all prissy and stuff. I was gonna put it all.
It's okay.
I was gonna be all. That's why I'm an introvert. So can't nobody see how trifling I am inside. I'm in the house. Can't see how trifling I am.
When you're at home, you do it.
Like that piece of the fat
Yes.
soaked up all
Yes.
the seasoning. Like,
Look
here
at
you go.
that. Oh my gosh.
There you go. Now it's going to get warm again now.
Excuse me. I'm having an out of body experience right now.
The mushroom.
Here we go.
Good Lord have mercy. I think my toes just curled.
You so you ain't right.
What kind of meat is this?
Shucks.
Is that flank?
No, it was on the flank. No, it wasn't a T-bone. It was it's bigger than a New York strip because it was one piece and I cut it in half when you get those two pieces like that.
Okay.
It wasn't a roast either. I don't think what it was.
So it's carne asada typically made out of a certain type of flat of beef.
Look at that. And we are officially done in an hour. And I actually got it from Walmart.
Okay.
So I'll take that with me to North Carolina. I only use it basically once a year, Thanksgiving.
I fry turkeys also. Old school, stand outside with the oil and
Yeah.
drop it in.
I
can do it.
I do it.
I know, but now I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore.
I stopped.
But it's always, like you said,
Great
once you
stuff.
had a fried turkey, it's hard to go back to traditional oven-baked turkey.
Yeah, my
It
dad
is.
still holds on to that. I'm like, dude.
I don't want it.
Give me a wing and we're good. I'm not messing
Like,
with
I don't want it.
you. I don't need money to good.
It's hot.
Thank you, kind sir.
You're welcome. Try that.
Excuse me while I do foodgasm. That was correct.
This is good.
You like that?
I like mac and cheese that is creamy, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna move to the dining room. We'll continue our conversation there. We're cooking the conversation, so we're gonna take a moment to pause. All right, so out of all the things you tasted for today, right? What is the thing that you like the most today?
The mac and cheese.
The mac and cheese? Okay.
Because I've never had shrimp mac and cheese, so definitely different.
Okay, I invite you to come over.
Yes, I am. Good thing I came. Otherwise, it's in a very intimate setting. You're a pondering chef. This to be my first meal of the day is quite
You
good.
could take a woman on a date to the African American Museum.
Here's the thing.
That's a good
That
museum to
is
go
a
to.
good museum to go to. You can't see everything in one day.
I think I've been
It's too
twice.
much.
I still haven't seen everything.
Right. It's too much.
I've been 4 times. Twice in it.
Yeah. My brother-in-law came. I got him tickets. He's a historian, so he spent the whole day. Because he said, I'll call y'all, to come pick me up or whatever. We're like, okay. He stayed until they kicked him out. And he still didn't get to see everything. He said it was just a lot to take in.
It is. It's a lot to take in. You can't take it in all in
Even
one day.
mentally,
Certain parts you go through, you're like, okay, I need a moment.
yes.
The
That's why they have
the
a
slave ship.
decompression area.
The slave ship.
Yes.
When you see the slave ship and see how everybody was actually
Yes.
in the slave ship like this, and it goes all the way around like that, and they're like this. You try to, how the hell did you like this? Side by side by side.
Because they knew they were going to lose a certain percentage of it.
It was terrible. And how is that called critical race theory? Because it's history. It happened.
I'll tell you that of that museum, the only disappointing part is the cafeteria.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't care for the food.
It's inexpensive too.
Hello, my name's Evie. I am late because I had a client, but I'm super excited about trying out the food and all that good stuff.
Well, you can add to the conversation too.
Okay.
A different female voice.
So there is shrimp mac and cheese in your bowl.
Okay.
This is ceviche with cod and shrimp.
Okay.
And you have carne asada with a mango salsa in your plate
Ooh.
on a soft shell tortilla.
It's huge in the Caribbean.
Even within the nationality is big.
Yeah. And like Indians, they have a whole lot of issues with colorism. Even back, in India, just the darker you are, of course, like everywhere else. But I know in Trinidad, if you're Indian and you date a black person, like you just dated the worst thing ever.
That's good. That's interesting because I think like even Ethiopians, like they would rather date
The culture's still changing.
a bottom of the gutter white person before they date an African American.
Well, but the culture is still changing. It's not there yet, but it's still changing.
Which is interesting because this week, last couple of weeks in my class, we've been discussing Anglo-Indians and how even within India, like the Anglo-Indians thought that they were better than Indians because they're descendants of British, but like their entire culture was erased by the British. So it's like, why would you celebrate being part of that? But it's interesting. I guess all countries have issues around race, but they're all countries that were colonized. The countries that were colonized are the ones with the greatest issues. The ones that were colonized, we just embracing our culture. But
Well, you know, the white people's goal was to kind of split us up anyway.
and they did it.
They were very successful
so
to this day.
so we even in the class this week we talked about how even though they're no longer there, their impact is still there. You know, just like slavery is no longer here, but the impact of slavery still exists.
It's one of those things that Julian is known for. It was even on the Travel Channel.
Yeah,
Like
I love that
like
episode
the
on the
official
travel.
Channel. They showcase all the countries and islands throughout the the entire globe. Well, one of the things they highlighted about Trinidad was bacon shark, and they said that this is something that you have to get when you come to Trinidad.
They're both fried. So one is like a fried dough bread, and you pull it apart and you put the fried shark in it. Like they have it in
So
the
it's fried shark. It's not like shark bacon. It's like
No, it's actual shark.
What's
it's bacon shark. It's not bacon shark.
No,
Oh, bake.
So
I think
bake
it's bacon too.
and
Bacon and shark. Okay.
Yeah.
So we
See, I
use
said
bake for
bacon.
other stuff too. Like we would bake and saltfish, or
So-
in Jamaica they use ackee.
So the bake is the bread.
Bake is the bread.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay,
And
I
it's
was
fried.
Fried
confused.
bake. There's fried bake and there's bake. Because there's two different kinds of bake.
there's supposed to be a place in New York that makes the bacon shark.
Oh no, New York got it all.
I know they got
Oh,
one,
yeah.
but I don't know where it's at. What they get the
Oh
bacon shark.
no, there's a
Her
good.
Sherry's from Brooklyn also.
Well, so if you want Trini food, you go to Queens.
Yeah.
Because that's where, like, all the Indians, they make the best Trini food. That's where they all live.
The doubles.
Doubles, aloo pie, bus-up shot. Well, I can kind of make bus-up shot, but don't hold me to that.
Now, if you make bust up shit, now the thing about that bust up shit is you gotta have something to hit the damn
The dough.
the dough with, because
Yeah.
you're
Like, you have this
This is how
hard,
you
round surface, and you keep beating it. That, and to make the roti, too, a little bit. Yeah.
so that's how you make the bust up shot. Like that's bust up.
Yeah.
When you're hitting it like
And
this.
you rip it apart like a roti bread.
Before you bake it, you rip it.
Green seed.
No.
Put that shit on everything. And I sear it real quick. Get it nice and dark. Oh, when I season it, I also add the brown.
The gravy.
No, the browning.
The brownie stuff.
Yeah, I
I
have
bought
that
all
in
this
the
stuff,
season.
but I haven't made it.
Yeah, add it in the while I season it overnight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for those at home that don't
That's the
understand,
green stuff.
hold that up.
Let me tell you, mine
gonna
are
ask.
about this big.
So you
I was
got-
gonna ask after she finished.
I should get you one because I have the big ones I get it from in Queens.
You got the
Can they
miniature
see?
size.
I can't see.
Now, what is that?
This is the chief
Chief, everything Chief. Like
green
that's
seasoning.
a big
Okay.
company in Trinidad.
So I get. So this is what
Let
I
them
use.
smell it.
Go ahead.
Because you said, I was like, the green stuff. I was like, I'll ask later.
What's the green stuff?
And
Talking about weed?
No.
Mm.
He said we.
So
My
the
brother,
green
he
stuff?
makes it himself.
So I have that in
You
another, in another bottle.
definitely. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm telling you, you want me to next time I go to
That's
New York?
not
It's
the
the big
onion.
Bottles.
They got the big
I
bottle.
have a big. I'll take a picture of it. A big one. And I have I buy about 6 at a time.
So you use that in different stuff, obviously.
Only for the certain dishes. So the oxtails.
I forgot drop. Yeah.
Well, okay. So cooking and conversation and good friends.
Good food, good food.
Serious, clink, clink.
All right. And for those in Foodie Land, thank you for joining us today
Forgot.
for
Yeah,
cooking
how
and
about y'all?
conversation. Have a blessed day.